to this edition of Your High School Sports. I'm your host, Roddy Woods, along with the Chris brothers. Chris Reddick and Chris Blevins is here. And guys, a lot of things happened during the football last Friday night. I can't wait to get into it with Mr. Blevins. I can't wait. But before we get into that, let's talk about what's going on around the nation and across the region. Sponsored by Buddy's Barbecue in Sevierville on the Parkway. Coming in. If you're coming into Sevierville, stop, get you some Buddy's Barbecue. And if you're leaving, get you some, take it home with you. So,
well, guess what, guys? You know what? I'm always doing my homework, going on, telling you what's going on around the nation. But this week, I have nothing to tell you. And that's because I had a rough weekend. And one of the reasons why is because we had the Your High School Sports Game of the Week. And that's what I was working on putting together. So even though that's not a national story, that's a story I'm going to quickly share with you. And where we went to Seymour High School. And Seymour Eagles are actually coached by somebody who was formerly on Your High School Sports, who played in the NFL, Mr. Scott Gallion. So we got to check out the Seymour Eagles because that was the Your High School Sports Game of the Week in Seville County as they faced a tough rival. It was Knox-Central. And the Knox-Central Bobcats, they came in looking for a win because they were just as hungry as Seymour was, because they both came in there 2-2. Plus, this was a conference game, so the game was on the line. And you know what happened?
Right,
Seymour played.
They don't do that. They throw it right across the middle and slant. Nice hit at the goal line, but he's going to get it.
14-0 at the half. Should have been 14-3.
Going to give it right up the gut. No, he's not. He's going to pull it out and throw it, and it's going to be a
just miss it. And I think they needed
nice kick. The kick is up. The kick is good.
So we're going to the second half. Let's take it down to the third quarter. We're talking middle of the third quarter. It's still 14-0. It's looking pretty good.
Campbell's going to take it right up the middle, and he's going to get the first down and more in the backfield.
They started going into the Wildcat, meaning the Bobcats.
Campbell's going to take it himself again. Find some right.
And they broke loose from the Wildcat, scored about a 23-yard touchdown.
He's going to run a little Wildcat again.
And from that moment
Same guy, and he's going to score this time.
Seymour just had a hard time. Even though there were a few more opportunities they had to win the game, even a late turnover from a punt that could have changed the momentum once again. So they
Johnson's
going
to call a fair catch. He's going to fumble it, and Seymour's going to pick it up right there.
Then it was just kind of garbage time for Wildcats. He got 2 more touchdowns in the game. Pretty much
Campbell at
pick
quarterback.
That was
He's going
another
to fake it, throw a slant across the middle,
so that score sounds
and
like
he's going to throw
Seymour
it to the wrong player, and it looks like he's going to take it back for 6.
It really was a good game towards the end. So just wanted to tell you about our Your High School Sports Game of the Week as our Around the Nation story.
all right, Mr. Blevins, around the region.
Well, we're already talking about in the very first of the show here. We want to just real quick recap you on something that happened. So we had 2 5 or 4-0 teams going up against each other this past week with Davy Crockett and Cobb County, and it was on Cobb County's home turf. First of all, the score got a little bit out of hand. 41-20. Unfortunately, Cobb County got beat by. But Roddy, I know we're going to talk about the quarterback a little bit. Tell me more what you thought.
Well, the game went, because I didn't go to the game, but my daughter went to the game, and she's a Cobb County High School student. She was corresponding the game, and the game was actually close. And I think she said the same thing, kind of got a garbage game at the very end, because at halftime it was 27-14. Cobb County came out, scored, made it 27-20, and made the game interesting. But, you know, as Cobb County turned the ball over a couple times, interception here, and we'll hear later about from Mr. Bart Lindsay. He talked about how Crockett is Crockett now, but I think Cobb County's still in it. I think they have a chance to make the playoffs. I'm not going to give up on them. I think they take 4 teams in the conference, and I think they're one of them. I really do. There's some other teams in that conference that are just not any good, and I think Cobb County can make it.
Well, that's what I was going to tell you, too. So, in saying that, Cobb County let me down a little bit. That was a game they could lose because Davy Crockett was probably just a better team. Like you said, it was closer than what you thought. This next week, though, coming up on Friday night, they got Pigeon Forge.
Yes, that should be a good game.
So that's going to be a really good game, but a crucial game for Cobb County, because after that, they got to go back and play Tennessee or Cherokee, then go to Tennessee and play, then they got to play Daniel Boone. So they got a big schedule.
Yeah, they do.
Pretty soon. Cobb County is going to be able to prove themselves. They got a game this week that I think they can win against Pigeon Forge. And the next for Davy Crockett, they have Hampton. That's going to be a good game as well. So 2 teams are coming out of the region that I think we need to talk about. Cobb County, I kind of got on the bad way maybe a little early, but I still think, like Roddy said, they got a good chance to come back and get a big win this week against Pigeon Forge, and I think we'll see Cobb County do some more stuff.
All right, you heard around the nation and across the region, hey, Buddy's Barbecue, best barbecue in town, sponsors this every week. So when we come back here on Your High School Sports, Bart Lyons is going to join us, and he's going to talk about his Hilltoppers getting a big win last Friday night at Bearden. So make sure you stay right here on Your High School Sports, because we're coming right back.
Get the right services you need from a name you can trust at Crescent Center Drugs. Whether it's hormone replacement therapy or if you need to update your immunizations for flu, pneumonia, or shingles, Crescent Center Drugs has a professional and friendly staff always ready to take care of you. That's why for many years, Crescent Center Drugs has been your good neighbor pharmacy. Right now, getting your medicine is fast and easy when you sign up for the IVR system. It's simple. Once your prescription is filled, your box is scanned, and you instantly receive a phone call or text for pickup. Visit Crescent Center Drugs inside the Crescent Shopping Center.
Welcome back to Your High School Sports. Now on the line with us is our correspondent in the Northeast, Bart Lyons. Bart, you didn't jump off a bridge. You went down to Knoxville and you took care of business last Friday night. Talk about it a little bit.
Business trip, guys. Business trip. The Hilltoppers rolled down to Knox-Bearden. Got that 20-20 win against a very good Bearden Bulldog team. Bearden came into the game. They were 4-0 and had only allowed 27 points leading up to that game. But A.J. Stewart, a quarterback, did a great job, 7 for 9 passing for 79 yards and 2 touchdowns. He clipped Maxwell with the touchdown, and also hit Drew Morrison, our fullback, out of the backfield for a touchdown. So very happy with the win by the Hilltoppers. But I'll tell you what, guys, the key move from the Hilltopper coaching staff is the three head coaches that we got playing running back, Morrison, Thomas, and Malik Bowman. We decided we was going to put them on the field. They had played linebacker all season. We put them at linebacker. They combined for 21 tackles. Whoa. 21 tackles in the game. And they really stepped in and stepped up and did a great job leading the way on a big victory on the road for the Hilltoppers.
Hey, we had an extensive conversation about your Hilltoppers last week on this show, and Chris Reddick said something. He says, Science Hill's in a perfect position right now. You lost to Greenville, but non-conference game. The only conference game you've lost is a Dobyns-Bennett, but you guys go to Bearden, and you beat Bearden, so you back in the thick of things.
Hey, listen, guys, in my opinion, I believe that Bearden was a lot better than at least 2 of the opponents that beat us. I'm not saying Greenville, but the other 2, I feel like Bearden was a better ball club than those guys. So definitely got things heading in the right direction, and great job by the Hilltopper coaching staff to make some adjustments and getting those athletes on the field.
Let's talk about other games up there. Some big games. You had Elizabethan. Talk about some of the other games in the Tri-Cities area.
Elizabeth is another blowout. There's another blowout win, and I tell you what, they're a talented team. They're a talented team, and one kid that's really come out of nowhere has been their starting running back. He's a freshman, Bryson Hines. The other night he had 6 carries for 50 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he leads them in rushing with 226 yards on the season. Carter Everett had another great game. He was 10 for 15 passes, 198 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then there's the Mr. Do-It-All himself, Corey Russell. He did his 2 touchdowns, 3 passes, 79 yards, 20 yards of punt return.
I tell you what, Bart, there's a lot of exciting games up there in the Tri-Cities. No bigger one than this week when Dobyns-Bennett goes down to Alcoa. But tell me who your player of the game of the week was last week.
Player of the week, you talk about the trading card Pioneers. We used to not talk about the Pioneers on this show. But boy, we sure do now. Hayden Shannon's got them 5-0. Said them 5-0. And Larkins is one of the best quarterbacks up there. He threw for 375 and 4 touchdowns. And also carried the ball twice with touchdowns. But he's not my player of the week.
Okay.
He plays the wide receiver, Dante Hagler, who had 2 interceptions in the second half. And also,
right. Well, Bart, we appreciate you being part of your high school sports each and every week. We appreciate everything you do. And what's that saying?
As always, guys, go Toppers.
All right. Thanks, Bart. Bart's happy. His Hilltoppers got a big win at Bearden.
Oh, yeah.
They needed it, but you said something. Y'all both said something last week. Science Hill's not out of this thing,
No,
guys.
Science Hill's a good team. A lot of parity in their conference, meaning a lot of teams are beating up on each other. So with having that big key win over an undefeated Bearden team, that puts them right back in the mix. Like I said last week, just forget about that score in that game with Green. It means nothing. They're not in their division, not in their conference. It means nothing. Doesn't affect them going down in, as far as the playoffs or anything. So if they can stay on track, and it looks like from what Bart said, they're using some of the athletes now and playing them both ways, and it seemed to work very well for them. So I think they're on the right path. Plus they're young too, meaning each week they're getting better.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, you got some top performers from the Northeast?
Top performers from the Northeast. Bart mentioned a few of them. Just going to go right down the line. These are some of the familiar names that you're going to get used to because, hey, they're producing each and every week, like quarterback Carter Everett. He's staying over that 200-yard line. He's got 211 yards, had 2 touchdowns, and that leads to another great quarterback. Bart happened to mention, hey, Crockett. We're talking a whole lot about Crockett this year. This is not your daddy or your parents' team anymore. Anyway, Kane Larkins is on fire. This man is hitting the 300-plus mark every week, 375 yards, 4 touchdowns in the air, 1 running. He does it all. Crockett. And guess what? When you're at Crockett and you're putting those type numbers, you got a great receiver you're throwing it to, and he's throwing it to my man Dante Hagler. Bart mentioned him, 150 yards, 7 receptions, and he also does it on defense. Had 2 key interceptions against, unfortunately,
Cobb County
to help bring that win and shut out Cobb County in the second half with great D. Then it leads to my man, big 6-foot-plus Charlie Cole. Man, he is tough. He brings in 3 touchdowns, 160 yards. He does work. And this is a guy we've been talking about here recently, Nathan Lane. This is Mr. All-Purpose, because I always talk about all-purpose. This is what he did this past week. 290 all-purpose yards, almost at the 300-yard mark with 4 touchdowns. Incredible game. Love it. Cody Lewis from Unicoi. By the way, Nathan's from Johnson County. Cody Lewis from Unicoi. He had 219 yards, 3 touchdowns. And Chris Thomas, Science Hill, with that big win over Billion, back at running back, had 148 yards.
Big time.
And a few touchdowns there. Then let's talk about UNACA. That's another school we don't talk about. Now, they took a loss, but Mr. John Ramsey, at quarterback, he had 295 yards in the air, 3 touchdowns. And like I said, these guys have somebody to throw it to with all of that many yards. His name is Jarrett. Last name is Jarrett, wide receiver, 8 catches, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns. And, of course, we cannot forget to talk about Mr. Football last year, Cade Ballard, as they went across the line playing in North Carolina against Pisgah. And believe it or not, before I give these numbers, Pisgah was the first team that scored a touchdown.
Yes, that's what
You know you're a great team when you start to get excited because somebody scored
on you. I read in the paper, a little comment on that. First team ever to score on Greenville this year.
Exactly.
You had to go across a line.
Yeah, the North Carolina, still a Tennessee team hasn't done it.
Yeah.
Stand real quick, Cade Ballard, 221 yards, 1, 2, 3, 5 touchdowns.
Mr. Football.
Yep. And that's what's going on with our top performers.
All right. You can't do nothing. You can't go wrong when you travel to Pisgah.
Oh, yeah.
Big high school team in North Carolina. If you don't know where Pisgah is, it's right outside of Waynesville. And they have a rivalry between Pisgah and Tuscola.
Mr. Jonathan Crompton.
Mr. Jonathan Crompton was on our show last year. But you experienced that, and hopefully in the future we might have something to say about that. Something special to show you about that game. Huge game. You think Alcoa and Maryville's huge? Pisgah, Tuscola is
another
huge.
level. Takes it on another level.
All right, when we come back, we're going to catch up with what's going on with the Ball Corporation Game of the Week, but we're going to hear from Coach Gary Rankin coming up next right here on Your High School Sports.
Fly
Just look at all those freshly made Krispy Kreme donuts. I'm sure it makes you want one or a dozen right now. So come visit our locally owned and operated Krispy Kreme donuts in Pigeon Forge. Our Krispy Kreme donuts are made fresh daily, our service is fast and friendly, and the taste will put a smile on anyone's face. Krispy Kreme is a fundraising favorite, so call us today to help support your school or community fundraising efforts. Our delivery truck is there when you need us. Krispy Kreme Donuts on the Parkway in Pigeon Forge.
I'm on the line now with head coach of the Alcoa Tornadoes, Coach Gary Rankin. Coach, first and foremost, I'd like to congratulate you on a big win a couple weeks ago against your crosstown rival, Maryville.
Well, I appreciate it. It was a great game. Our kids really, really played well. Coaches on both sides of the ball was well prepared. And, it was a great effort by our coaches and our players.
Coach, you got a big game coming up Friday night, non-conference against Dobyns-Bennett. What do you know about the Indians?
Well, they're big, strong, fast, and physical. You know, it's a 6A school. That program's been good for the last 25 years. It's been one of the best, better programs in the state of Tennessee, especially up in East Tennessee. So, after great atmosphere, a great game, got fortunate there at the end to be able to pull it out late. But it's going to be a heck of a game. Should be a good atmosphere, good crowd.
Well, when you go up against the Dobyns-Bennett or somebody like that, it's always good for your program. But a lot of people say, hey, they're a smaller school, and how do they compete with the bigger schools? And can you tell our fans how you do that, Coach?
Well, we can compete with them, from time to time. If we had to do it week in and week out, maybe not because of depth purposes, but we have a little bit more depth this year than we've had in the past. And that's a problem sometimes. You're coaching in 3A and 2A. You got to manufacture depth and make sure you got kids that are ready to play in case something happens. So we've got a good bunch right now. We're playing. We're healthy, so everything's going real good. So it should be a great ball game.
All right, Coach. I won't take up too much more of your time, but we appreciate you talking to us here on Your High School Sports, and good luck this Friday night.
Thanks.
All right.
Get the right services you need from a name you can trust at Crescent Center Drugs. Whether it's hormone replacement therapy or if you need to update your immunizations for flu, pneumonia, or shingles, Crescent Center Drugs has a professional and friendly staff always ready to take care of you. That's why for many years, Crescent Center Drugs has been your good neighbor pharmacy. Right now, getting your medicine is fast and easy when you sign up for the IVR system. It's simple. Once your prescription is filled, your box is scanned, and you instantly receive a phone call or text for pickup. Visit Crescent Center Drugs inside the Crescent Shopping Center.
Welcome back to Your High School Sports. I'm Roddy Woods along with Chris Blevins and Chris Reddick. We're here to talk about the Ball Corporation Game of the Week, guys. 2 games. Let's talk about the game first. Elizabethton and Tennessee High. We've talked about Tennessee High. We've talked about Elizabethton. But do we need to discuss it any further?
We probably need to discuss it just a little bit because Tennessee High Elizabethton is always a classic game. It even goes back to when I played. But something has been going on the last few years, and Elizabethton has had Tennessee High's number for the last few years. I mean, it's starting to stretch out to where it's been favoring Elizabethton. But you know what? I got a former teammate by the name of Coach Mike Mays that is coaching that team, and he's getting this team better and better each year. I'm going to tell you how he did it. Right off the bat, first game, he took care of a real good Knox-Central team.
Yes, he did.
Team that was in the semifinals last year, and in the finals the year before that, took care of them this year. Also went toe-to-toe with Daniel Boone, in their conference. Boone is always tough, and they had they should have pulled that one out, to be honest. So this is a team that easily could be undefeated at this point. So with that being said, Tennessee High, they're going to have to, though, come into the home of Elizabethton, which makes it a little tough, but Tennessee High, they're a little hungry. Anything can happen. But I'm going to give it, I don't think it's going to be, I think it's going to be a pretty close game. 2 touchdowns, Cyclones.
Let me not sugarcoat it for you real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Being nice. Tennessee High better be starving before they they're going to get a win. I was talking to Chris before the game. I wanted to know why Elizabethton was so good, and I'll tell you why Elizabethton was so good. They start these kids out from the grass cutter level dreaming about being a Cyclone. And now that they're Cyclones, they are here, they're ready. This is all they eat, breathe, sleep. They have players at every position. Like you said earlier about teams that play both ways, they play both ways. They have a good quarterback that manages the game. Coach Witten has done a fantabulous job. I was watching him the other day, getting his team prepared during the week and getting their mentality right. That's why I know that Elizabethan's going to win this game, because they're going to have their mindset right, have their players ready. And Tennessee High will give them a battle, like you said. But let's don't make no mistake. Elizabethan's going to win this game.
All right. You heard it from our experts here. Now, the game that we're covering, your high school sports ball corporation game of the week, is Science Hill, not Science Hill.
No, not
Science Hill.
We did that
but Science Hill, can you imagine Science Hill and Dobyns-Bennett going up against Alcoa? We always said that Dobyns-Bennett is going to make a visit down to Alcoa. And I had a chance, you heard me ask Coach Rankin a question there. You are a 3A school playing bigger schools, and he gave us a reason why. Because he know last year he traveled to Dobyns-Bennett, and they down to the wire, Alcoa won. But that's how you get to be better, because you play teams like Dobyns-Bennett, you play Science Hill, you play the big time team, because you have to have competition. You have to have competition. You don't share that 32 gold balls for nothing. Okay? So let's talk about that a little bit. You got some stuff on Dobyns-Bennett or Alcoa?
Well, I got some stuff on Alcoa. Dobyns-Bennett, those will be ready to play this game.
I think so too. I think so too.
I'll tell you a few more things about Alcoa that you might need to know if you haven't got it in these first few games. Alcoa is coming off 2 games ago, a win on Maryville. They haven't won in Maryville since 2010. They won 34-28. And then this past week they played Pigeon Forge. I know that's not a really good comparison.
Right.
You got to go back to that big Maryville game to see what the Alcoa can do. Alcoa is averaging 46 points a game. 46 a game. I'm not sure what Dobyns-Bennett is, but it's not 46. Next thing, we got quarterback Walker Russell. I'm telling you, this guy is awesome. In the win against Maryville, we're talking about Maryville, I'm just kind of getting you ready for what we're going up against. 214 yards and 3 touchdowns in the Maryville win. That's big time.
That's big time.
On a big stage. I mean, that's probably a big TV game for them. Put it on paper. Offense for the first 4 games, 1,700 yards on offense, and they're averaging 429 yards in offense per game as well. We have 46 points, 429 yards of offense, and Coach Rankin says this is probably one of his best balanced offenses he's ever had at Alcoa.
Yes.
So at 32 gold balls, I think about to add 33. Next, defense. This was the part that he was kind of worried about. Rankin wasn't secondary and where it was at. He thinks that this year they've stepped up a little bit. That was his big question mark. They're only holding people. They're holding people to 10.5 points a game, and they've had 2 shutouts in their first 4 games. So this week is going to be no different. This is going to be a big game. I think Dobyns-Bennett is going to be ready, so Alcoa is going to need to be ready. But I think Alcoa is on a different level right now, and they're spinning it up right now, getting ready. Defense has got 4 interceptions too, so they're not hitting you just from offense like some teams. Like I think when I watched Davy Crockett, they just blow you out of the water with the air and the pass. They get you on defense. 10.5 points a game. They're only giving up, and they're scoring 46 on you a game. So I'm going to take Alcoa in this one. I think Dobyns-Bennett will come to play, but Alcoa's got something special this year.
Alcoa does have something special this year. I'm not going to take that away from them. They got an awesome win against their nemesis, Maryville, which shows a lot. Like you said, they're a 3A team. They're taking on these big schools. And you take on a team like Maryville and you take them down. You got to question, is this the best team in the state? I'm going to let you answer that. But let's get back into what's happening in the moment, because that's all we have in this life, is the moment.
Yes.
So at any given moment, anything can happen. And guess what? Kingsport, Dobyns-Bennett allowed Alcoa to come into their home.
Yes.
And Kingsport should have beat Alcoa and allowed Alcoa to come back to steal a win from them. And this is a team that's got a lot of players that remember that. Quarterback, Red Wine for Dobyns-Bennett. He remembers. Ian Hicks, who I like to call Mr. Larry Zonka. He remembers. Cole Moppin. He remembers. And a lot of other those Dobyns-Bennett Indians. So you know what? Coach Joey Christian's another ETSU standout that I played with. He's going to get this team. This is his first year. So guess what? What better way to prove yourself to be a great coach than to go into Alcoa, who thinks they're the king of the state, and get an upset win.
Okay.
So with that being said, we're going to give it a close win. Still to Alcoa.
After all that, let me
I don't think they're the king. They are king.
let me throw something else at you. It says Coach Rankin and I had a little conversation off when we were doing the interview, off the record. I asked him, I said, Coach, is this your best team? So I want to ask you this on record.
On record? It was on record, right?
It was off record, but I'm putting it on record now.
Oh.
I asked him, was this his best
We're going to
team?
get another interview after this.
You want to?
I don't know. You said it was off record. Now
No, but he said, Roddy, he said, this team has some things that my other teams don't have. He said, we have a good presence in the dressing room.
Okay.
We have good practice. He said, they're all hungry. He said, this team is a slight bit better than some of my other teams.
Ooh, you saw some of those great teams. One of them's in the NFL.
You sure Randall Cobb played for him? But he said that, and I'm like, Coach Rankin, he said, overall, this team has some things that some of my other teams did not have. And he says, I can tell you that they are hard-nosed football players on this team.
I'll tell you something else I think, too. If you watch Davy Crockett, a quarterback we talk about, Caden Larkin, every week, I guarantee he controls that team. You got Walker Russell, one of their best players at quarterback, leading that team. Go to some of these good teams we talk about, or go to Cade Ballard of Greenville, leading their team.
Yeah.
That's what sometimes in high school football, you've got to have a center location you go to. I think all these good teams have a quarterback at a very good leadership position that takes these teams on top of their coach being leadership. They've got someone on the field to leader too, and I think that makes them really good.
All right, you've heard it from us right here for the Ball Corporation Game of the Week. Dobyns-Bennett versus Alcoa Tornadoes. Stay with us. We'll be right back to unveil the top 10, your high school sports top 10, coming up next.
At Sevier County Electric System, we know that when the power goes out, it's important to you to have power restored as quickly as possible. That's why we've introduced the Power Action Line. As soon as you call the Power Action Line from a phone associated with your electric service, we know immediately that your power is out. The Power Action Line lets us answer up to 1,200 calls per hour, so we can make sure and identify all outages, even after major storms. We track those outages through our integrated mapping system, which provides our operations center a better understanding of where the affected areas are located and predicts probable starting points that helps our crews begin looking for the problem. Our whole goal is to get your power back on as soon as possible. We'll even call you back to make sure your service has been restored. At Sevier County Electric System, we want to take care of our customers, and that's what we do every day. Sevier County Electric System. We are the power behind our community. Just call 865-774-6300.
Welcome back to your high school sports. It's time to unveil that top 10. You want to go for it, Mr. Blevins?
Yeah, sure. So let's start from the bottom real quick, because this is going to change up what we had over the past week. So we got number 10 coming this week, Green Bay. You ever heard of them? That's a good team. They're 5-0 right now. They're sliding into our top 10. Number 9, we got Oak Ridge. Number 8, we got David Crockett. Number 7, Anderson County. Number 6, we got Farragut. Number 5, Elizabethton. Number 4, Fulton. Number 3, Maryville. Hadn't heard that in a long time. 3. Number 2, Greenville. And right now, it's at number 1, Alcoa.
Pretty good, huh? If you have any comments and you'd like to suggest your top 10, go to yourhighschoolsports.com and give us comments, because we all need feedback.
Oh, speaking of feedback, Mr. BBD always gives some feedback. He called a couple of things out, some mistakes I believe he said we made in the last show, but I think on where you were talking about, I don't think we mentioned that, because I think it was in the interview with Bart, when Bart was talking about Knox-Central had playing some good teams. He was talking about it in the past when he had played Maryland River. So he wasn't talking about that BBD as if he played them this year.
We're talking about in the past. He said he had played some Brentwood Academy and Blackman and some teams like that, but not right now. They hadn't faced anything like Greenwood.
So he was just comparing. He's seen some good teams.
Yes.
In order to try to compare on the type of team Greenwood was, this year.
So.
Roddy, want to say something else? Make sure real quick.
Yeah.
Next week at 5:30.
No, I'm getting excited.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm getting excited.
5:30 next week. Get on Facebook, like and share our page at 5:30. We're going live every time we take this show next Monday.
From the green room.
From the green room. We're going to do giveaways, Buddy's Barbecue, Krispy Kreme donuts. We got stuff coming up, and then on the shows after we get going here, we'll have some stuff on the show. You can come back and check us out. But next Monday at 5:30, we want to see you live. Comment on it, talk to us. We're having some fun with you guys.
All right. For Chris Blevins and Chris Reddick, I'm Roddy Woods, and we'll see you next week right here on Your High School Sports.